Hello again. We're here to color another beautiful page from this book about Mexican treats. And my husband and I, we put this book together. He's a Mexican national, and our daughter is 2 years old. This book is full of bold and easy coloring pages. She's learning how to color, so we wanted to make a book that not only made it very easy for her to participate in coloring and learn how to color and learn how to stay within the lines very easily, but some of the rest of us also need that too. Last time we did this churro page, and this book also, it has a lot of very traditional sweets in it, and our daughter, she can learn about her Mexican culture while coloring because she's so young, and we love putting this together for her. Now you can find this and color along with me if you like. It's by Giggly Goo Art. That's our small business. You get 50 bold and easy pages, but here's a little secret. We also have a QR code inside to get another 50 free pages when you buy the book, so you can download those. Anyway, I've picked out a page today that I wanted to color. We are going to color this page. These are and I've got a little sample here to show you. This is a very, very common traditional candy in Mexico. It's made of coconut and sugar, obviously, and sometimes coconut milk, sometimes just leche. They're called Banderitas. So we got this one at a birthday party where they were in a piñata, and when the piñata broke open, we found a lot of candies like this, and so it's just a coincidence that we happened to, that's how common it is. It's so common that we put it in our book, and we just happened to break it open in a piñata recently at a birthday party. So, going with that, these are the colors of the Mexican flag also, red, white, and green, and I am going to pick out my colors to color this page here. So I think I'm going to start with the green, and using this as my inspiration, I think I'm going to stick towards the top greens here. And like I have mentioned before, when coloring, I'm going to give this a bit of texture. Right now it's kind of flat, although there's some dots in here. What I plan on doing is starting with a lighter color, and then I'm going to add texture with the darker colors. With these markers that I'm using are the Chotun 120 colors. They're very affordable, alcohol-based markers. Unlike some of the very expensive markers you often see, we want to make sure that people know that they can color and do great coloring work with more affordable colors as well, and this is what I'm using. So if you were to follow along, I've done the swatch of all the colors so I can see what it looks like on the page already. And when I'm coloring with these alcohol markers and you want to create depth or texture, you want to start with a lighter color first. So I'm going to start with this 56 here, and then as I'm layering on texture or shadows, I think I'm going to play around with these other three colors, this being the darkest, number 52. So I'll put this one, I think, towards the end. I'll start layering some of the different darker colors on top of this. And similarly, for the red, we'll do that in a minute, but we're going to start with this green color. And let me get those out for you. We've got, let's see, so number 56, 55, 54, and 52. You can see how they go from lightest to darkest. So I'm going to start with that number 56, which is a mint green. And what I like to do, we have two tips here. There's a brush tip and a fine tip. And I think I'm going to use the brush tip because it's great for doing bigger areas. The fine tip is great for details. So I'm going to start with the brush tip here. You can see that. And let's see, I think I'm going to start here. There we go. It's a little darker than I expected, but let's see. We'll probably lighten up as it dries. There we go. Now, should I put all of the green on one side, or should I flip one? I think I'm going to put the green on this side at least. Maybe I'll flip the other one just for variety. Give it a little something to break up the pattern. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do green on this side. Now with alcohol markers, if the area that you are coloring dries before you have a chance to pass over it again, it may leave some streaks. But if you go fast enough and smooth enough, it will all end up blending together. Okay, we've done it. We've finished our base color, and now let's see what we want to do with the layers. What am I going to do with that? Let's keep our inspiration right here so that we can keep it in our mind. Okay, well, one thing I can do, and I'm going to use this next color, is number 54. It's called Viridian. I'm going to use the brush again. So let's see, maybe I can just give it a little bit of shadow on this side. Just to give it some depth. Maybe a shadow on this side. Okay, there we go. And what about on this side? I'm just playing around here. We're making it up as we go. Now, I'm putting the shadow on this side for some depth, with the plan on adding even darker colors here for texture. But on the top, I plan to leave lighter, and this is where I'm going to go in with my fine tip side and start adding some texture. And now you can see that these candies have a lot of texture in it, like the coconut, and it's not entirely smooth. So I think I'm going to go in here and sort of give it some of this coconut shredded texture and pox that it has. And the image already has some of those little dots in it, but I want to give it more. And instead of, perfect dots or circles, I'm giving it a little bit of this like tiny dashes in erratic ways, because the coconut, unlike sugar, right, where it's round, the coconut is a little bit like a stringy texture. So I'm doing tiny dashes in this case instead of little dots. If you watched the last video that I did with the churros, in order to give it that sugar-coated effect, we did little dots and layers of little dots. But in this case, we're going to do some little erratic dashes and lines, and some can be longer and some can be shorter. And I think we're going to go in with that a little bit more. And I might actually make them a little darker around the edges. Do a little more of those, just to give it some depth. Okay, there we go. I think for now we're done with this color. We have two more colors, two more darker colors to go. I'm going to put them right here so we can see. So let's go in with the number 55. That's an emerald green. Again, I'm going to use the fine tip here for some texture. What I may do is use one of these. I think I may use this one also for some shadow. Just to give it like this shadow effect. Also shadow down here, because thinking the light is coming in this way. Actually, I'm going to do that here too. Let's go in with the shadow right now. We'll do more shadow with the darkest color as well, but we're going to layer that. And because this is a textured bar, I like getting that little bit of a, doesn't have to be a perfect line. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with some of these. I actually have to make it a little more erratic because of the coconut. So let's go in here and just do this one all over. We're going to do more with the darker color as well. Layering in here some of these dashes. It's going to look pretty good. We'll also go in towards the end and add some highlight colors with the light so that it looks like there's some reflection going on with the light source. And so that will reflect off of some of these holes or pocks, just like the light will do here. Also, some of the coconut is a bit lighter than other areas. Okay. We're doing more texture, more texture, more texture, more texture. Let's do more texture over here. Okay. Not sure if I did enough texture. There we go. Let's just do a lot. And again, I'm doing this in little dashes erratically because coconut has a little bit of a stringy quality rather than a perfect round circle like sugar does, for example. I think for now we're done with this one. Then we'll use the last one. I am going to, I don't quite like, there's not enough shadow here for me. So let's go in here, give some shadow, more shadow towards the bottom. believing that our light source is coming up from the top. Okay. We did that with our brush tip. Now I'm going to switch to the fine tip and give it a little more that coconut texture. Okay. Because the coconut itself is going to give it some shadows where the light doesn't quite reach. Might want to go over the side shadows a bit more. I'm going to give a little bit on the top too. And look, there's no perfection here. This is just free flowing. So don't worry about getting it right or getting it wrong. We are just playing here and giving it some texture. Plus, it's kind of fun. I love that kind of sketch, you know, it's where you sketch things versus it looking, I don't know, to me it's hard to just completely do stuff that is so smooth and perfect. But I think for me and my artistic style, I like it when it's a little bit more sketched out like that. Okay, I think for now let's leave that. We can come back to it if once it settles or we want to do a little bit more. But now maybe we can, should we do the red or should we do the white middle? Thinking maybe we do the red next. So what's going to be our base color? We've got our inspiration here. So I'm thinking maybe I'll start, wondering if I should start with 10 or 5 as the base color. Or 5. I think I might go 10. Is that too light? Let's try it. We can always go darker. So let's try 10. And then we can come in with 2 and 1. Or, well, let's see how 10 goes. We can go in with 10 and then 15 if it's too bright. Then 2 and 1. I definitely feel like 2 and 1 are our shadow, our darker colors. So let's start with 10 and then we see if we go 15 in the interim. I think so, but we'll start with 10. Okay, 10, 15, 2 and 1. All right, here we go. We're going to play around with these. Got it? All right, 10. So we'll start on this side. Actually, that's quite a nice bright red. I was worried it was going to be too light. It's going to be perfect to layer some darker reds on top. Again, it's okay to go lighter than you expect because those highlights, you want to keep the highlights available, and then you can always bring it down. See, it's lighter than the actual color, but we're going to bring that overall color down with the darker shadows. But now we have the lighter highlights as our base, and because we can't create those once the dark goes down, but they're there now. They are there now. And as you can see here, how that worked out. Okay. We're gonna Okay, let's see. We're gonna put this red down here. There we go. We're done with that color. That's our base. Put that away. So let's see. Maybe we do just add a little bit of this 15 geranium just to see what happens. I'm going to use the brush. And this one's already dry, so let's see. Okay. I might. Thinking about maybe actually just going over the whole thing. I quite like this. Could have started with this color, quite frankly. It's quite nice. Or maybe what I can do is I'm going to use the brush tip to go over this actually and add some of these base texture, because I'm going to keep that highlight color, but I think we need more of this red than we did with the green, so I'm using the brush tip to add that first layer of texture, give it more of this deeper red color. Okay, I think we're done with that color. That's quite nice. Now we have two left. We have the old red and the wine red. So we're going to go with the old red first. Let's see. This is dry. Let's see how this goes. Old red. I think we may want to go with the wine red on that shadow. Let's see. Looks like this one's running out of ink. Running out of ink. One moment while I see if I have another one. Alright, let's see if this one's any better. Old red. Good thing I have a backup. These ones are well loved. Let's see if the brush tip, how that looks. Okay, that's better. I'm adding some thicker texture for some reason. I like that for this one. And then for the last piece, I will actually, I'll do this. For the last piece, I'm going to use the fine tip for the darkest color. It's okay to layer on top all the colors. I'm going to add some of this texture. Okay, we're done with that one. Actually, no, I'm going to add a few more fine. There we go. I like that better. There we go. Okay, we're done with that. Now we have our darkest red. How are we looking? Looking pretty good, huh? Okay. Right now I'm gonna go in with some of this darkest fine tip. I'm using the fine tip on this one. I think that will add some nice shadows. Again, I'm going for the longer, more sketched out type of feel for the coconut. I'm gonna add this down here too. And what I'll do is take the brush tip and add this shadow here. Oops, I went over the line there. Sometimes it's hard to control these brush tips, the way they bleed. It's okay, we're gonna fix it later. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay. Add some coconut texture. Okay. Okay. Now, what color are we going to color the white part? Because the white part is not quite perfectly white. It is like a yellowy color. I think this 134 is quite similar. 134, 109, 134. Let's start with 109. We'll go into 134, and it's not a lot of highlights or lowlights in there, but maybe with the 107 here. Could be with some texture. So I'm going to start with 109, go 134, and then let's see what happens. We can use maybe some warm grays. Actually, I think the 109, 134 and a warm gray might be nice. So anyway, okay, let's grab these two. 109, 134. Okay, that's pearl white. Pearl white. Lovely. Great. We did that. Now, let's see. With this raw silk color, what are we going to do with this one? What are we going to do with this one? Are we going to do... Maybe we can at least color this. I believe we could have also started with this one. It's not that dark. Actually, I'm going to use the brush tip for the texture on top. It's not going to be very obvious, the texture, so... But it will give some little something. Okay. Done with that. Now, do we want 107? I think that's a little bit too orangey. I'm thinking maybe this WG2 or 3. What do you think? I think I'm leaning towards this WG3. Let's see what happens. By the way, this is coloring. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't have colored that whole thing, but it's okay. I'm gonna add a little texture here. Shadow. Texture. I'm going to try the fine tip. This one I'm being a little bit more dramatic with the coconut flare because I feel like the colors are so light that I have more liberty to be dramatic, and it's still gonna be a little bit muted. So I think that's perfect. Okay, what next, folks? Well, we are going to add some highlights. And in order to do that, I'm going to take this Jelly Roll gel pen. It's white ink gel pen, size 10. And this will add some highlights. So let's see, where do we want to add some highlights? I think, first of all, I think if we add maybe some, there we go. Something like this, some shape. Okay. got some highlights there. Something like this. Some dots, some lines. Okay, now what we're going to do is add some coconut highlights. Okay, we're going to just add some little flecks of highlights there. Maybe some on the side too. Okay, we're going to add some here. Can't really see it as much on the white part. I'm actually going to go over the part of the black because I want it to be integrated into the image. Some people don't like doing that. That's okay. If you don't like it, you don't have to do that part. It's okay. You can keep it within the lines if you like. In fact, maybe I'll show you what it looks like if we stay within the lines down here. So this one is when you go over the lines. Okay. And this one, we're going to stay within the lines. I already made the kind of the highlight shine go over the line, but I think that looks more uniform. We'll add a few little highlights down here too. Now, one thing you can do, let's try this, is we can go over the white with some of these other colors that we did before. So it integrates some of these white hairs, coconut hairs. I guess that might be a good way to describe it, the coconut hairs. And it will integrate it a bit more into the image. So, for example, the green. Our lightest green was the 56. Let's try going back over. And it just sort of gives it another layer of color. See, like even try this. Try this. You can go over with that lighter color too to give those whites a bit more. You can dye it down. There, see? Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Actually, that's working out quite well. Let's do more of that. So there you go. If you don't like the white so bright, you can integrate that color with going over it with that base color. So I'm going to do the same with the red so you can see. Let's do it with the 10, the lightest color that we did. So take a look at this. And that integrates this a bit more. You can leave some of those a bit brighter. Look at that. Mm-hmm. Now it really does look more like the coconut texture when you go back over it. See? Wonderful. I'm going to add a bit more of these coconut hairs down here. I also believe that I would like to add a bit more shadow down here, so I might actually go in with an even darker version, or maybe the WG5. It's like a grayish color. Just add a bit more of a highlight down here. Kind of blend that in coconut style. Make that a little sketch some coconut texture in there. There we go. Let's see. There we go. Adding more coconut texture. More coconut texture. Shadows and highlights. Shadows and highlights. Here we go. And now that that's done, I think I will go back over with that lightest color and mute down some of these highlighted coconuts and make it blend in just a little bit more. Wonderful. And there we have it. There we have it. What do you think? We just finished completing one of these beautiful coconut treats, Banderitas. And now we can open it. Take a bite. Oh, that's really nice. Thank you for joining me today and coloring with me. I hope you will come back again, and if you have any questions, please leave me a comment, ask a question, and if you would like to color along, you can come back and watch this again. You can pick up this book on Amazon. It's by Giggly Goo Art. Now, make sure it's from Giggly Goo Art. There are a lot of copycats out there. This is a bestseller on Amazon. And it's called Mexican Treats Coloring Book by Giggly Goo Art. You can come and follow along with me and color with me. Okay? Thank you for joining me, and I will see you again soon. Thank you.